There are a lot of different goggles to choose from: Speedo, Tier, Arena, the Magic 5. But what is the best? What are the best goggles in swimming? In this video, I will give you my top 5 favorite goggles on the market today. Now, as a professional swimmer with over 20 years of swimming experience, I have worn pretty much all the goggles, like almost all of them. Most of the goggles. For 10 years, I had partnerships and sponsors with some of the major swimming brands, and so I always had to wear one of those brands when I was with the company. But now, I'm not currently with any brand or any company, so I can wear whatever I want, and so I can honestly review whatever I want for you, the viewers. So this video is totally unbiased. I'm gonna talk about all of the major swimming brands. This is a performance swimming goggle review video, my top 5 best goggles on the market that I have personally worn, that I still wear, that I like. And it's important to note that this is in no particular order. I will give you my #1 favorite goggle at the end of this little rundown, but just overall, in general, these are just the best 5. And there's a few factors that go into this. Durability, how long do these goggles last? I know some of these goggles I've had for 10 years, some of them only last like 6 months. Cost, how much is this gonna put a hole in your wallet? Form factor, do they look cool? And then one of the biggest thing is field of view. How much of your vision is blurred out and distorted, or how wide, how far out to the side can you see when you wear these? All those kinds of things. Now, let's get started. All my goggles are under here, so let's pull these out of the water. Starting off with the most popular goggle on planet Earth, for good reason, the classic Speedo Vanquisher. These things have been around for as long as I can remember. Honestly, I wore these for years. I wore these through high school. I actually wore these my freshman and sophomore year of college. You know, there's a 2.0, a 3.0, whatever their website says, but it's basically the same goggle. Every other brand has tried to replicate this. You know, Arena has a version of it. Tier has a pretty good version of these that are basically the same, but they're popular for a few reasons. The main one is they fit the most amount of faces. Most people can wear these and wear them comfortably. They don't look ridiculous. They're a relatively low profile goggle, so they don't bulge out too far. They've got a million different colors, and the field of view is decent. It's okay. This is the goggle that you're gonna find when you walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods, when you walk into a Big 5, Walmart's. These are everywhere, and for pretty good reason. These are my wife's goggles. She's had these for at least 10 years. That's how old these goggles are. They're still good. The only thing you really gotta worry about is taking care of the internal layer on the lens long term. As long as you keep that cleaned off so that you don't have buildup and it doesn't get scraped up too much, they last a long time. They are built tough. I mean, you can run over these with your car, you can beat them up. I mean, they're just, Speedo's done a good job. You gotta give them credit where credit's due. The Vanquisher it's gotta be up there. You can buy these for as low as like $20 here in the US, and then I'm sure 30, 40 plus if you want super colorful, different fancy ones. But the next goggle on the list is another Speedo made product, the Speedo Hyper Elite. These are incredibly popular. These are what I wore when I was sponsored by Speedo for a number of years. I raced in these at a lot of major international competitions. Super low profile, they look sleek, the field of view is great. You can see really far out to the side. They come in a bunch of different really cool colors. These are extremely popular for, you know, US national team members, elite Olympic finalist type people. Pretty good suction. Given the fact that they're such low profile. The only downside to these goggles is they're really expensive. They're like, I think they're like 80 bucks now. But then again, a lot of high performance goggles are a little bit more expensive. The thing I don't like is the nose piece. Now, the original goggle was the FS3 goggle here, and the nose bridge was attached. You see this? This piece could not come out. These I like way more. These are way better than these, but they were like, we gotta innovate, we gotta make them better, we gotta keep changing them, and they really screwed the pooch on that. But anyway, the Hyper Elite goggle, it's a good goggle. The only downside is this nose bridge I have found on a number of my Hyper Elite goggles. This starts to wear down and they slide out too easily and they just come apart, and then eventually you just lose the nose bridge. Like, that has happened to me. I mean, when I was swimming with Speedo for like 3 years, it happened like all the time. So that piece just kind of cheap plastic. I think they're just making them kind of cheaper. A little bit of a bummer, but again, a good goggle. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have to worry about losing the nose bridge and it starting to wear down if you're spending nearly $100 on goggles. But it's still in my top 5 because I wore them a lot. They are good goggles. And again, the field of view is great and they look really cool. And they are pretty durable. They're fairly durable. Not the most durable. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give these a 6 on the scale of durability, which is not super high, again, for a goggle that's gonna cost you close to $100 US, but still, they have a soft spot in my heart. I do really like them. And fun fact, this pair on top of my head here, this clear pair, this was one of the very first pairs that Speedo ever made of this goggle. When they stopped making the FS3 goggle and they transitioned to this goggle, I got this at a photo shoot. There might only be a couple of these. This is a relic. This is a Speedo relic. This is pretty cool. Okay. While I'm sifting through the water to grab my next pair of goggles, let me take a quick moment to tell you about one of my favorite products and longest sponsors, Factor Meals. Factor Meals have been my go-to for as long as I can remember. The convenience of not having to go to the grocery store, already having delicious, healthy, pre-made meals ready to go has improved my life tremendously. There is a ton of variety. Every week there's over 35 different meals to choose from, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, plus veggie, and more. I personally prefer the protein plus meals because of how active I am. It's really flexible. I have the Factor app. I choose my meals in advance. When I'm going out of town for a vacation or a swim clinic, I just pause that week so I don't get meals delivered when I'm not home. It's very, very convenient. Head to factor75.com or click the link in the description below and use the promo code 50CODY to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50CODY at factor75.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Check it out, you won't be disappointed. Next up, we have the Arena Cobra goggles. These goggles are awesome. They're like probably my second favorite pair of goggles. And out of all the goggles that I have, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I have hundreds of goggles in my basement, like from storage from the years that I swam for a lot of these brands. And I don't have a pair of Cobras right now. I had two and I've lost both of them. The most recent pair that I had, I left at a swim clinic in Utah, and so some kid got those. And anyway, I don't have a pair. I really, really like them. They're great goggles. They were like the OG of really sleek, low profile, wide field of view, being able to see out the sides. And other brands have since copied them, like Tier makes, what is this? Tier makes the Tracer X Elite mirrored goggle, which is basically just a Cobra knockoff, just straight up it is. And these are pretty good. They're not as good as the Cobras, but they're pretty good. I mean, this is a brand new box. How do I open this? That's kind of a cool, fancy box. And the thing with the Cobras is they have this plastic piece off to the side, just like these Tracer X. When I was sponsored by Tier, I tried wearing the Tracer X ones, and I could never get them to not leak. Maybe I'll try them again, but I could never get them, no matter what nose piece I used, to not leak. I do like the hard plastic edge, the side piece. I do like that. That's very polarizing. Not everybody really likes that, but again, these are the Tracer X goggles. They're the Cobra knockoffs. Pretty good goggles. Not in my top 5. But the Cobras are just like, they're the OG. They still are the best. The field of view is great out the side, really, and they're super, super durable. Like they're really, I got my first pair of Cobras in like 2020, and that was one of the pairs that I still had. I used it for like 4 years, and they were still good. And the inside didn't get too scraped up. It's like the plastic that they made the lens out of, I think is like, it's a quality plastic silicone base that just doesn't deteriorate the way that a lot of other goggles do. So hats off to you, Arena. You did a good job with those. That's why so many people wear the Cobras. The Magic 5 Goggle Company is a company that I'm a fan of. Very, very cool, good product. Now these, number one, look really unique. Look at how cool that is, all the different edges. Field of view's pretty good out the sides, not quite as good as the Speedo Hyper Elite or the Arena Cobras, but pretty good seeing out the sides. That's important when you're racing, looking both ways. You wanna see your competition. This is not a traditional goggle because it's tailor-made to each individual person. You download the Magic 5 app, you scan your face, and then they do like a 3D blueprint of your face. They print a specific mold that fits your face, and then they send you the goggles. Now, I will say, when I first got these goggles, I had to have them send me like 2 or 3 different remade molds before it fit seamlessly and it didn't leak. That was years ago. I think that they've gotten much better about making sure that they fit perfectly on the first try, on the first scan, but that's just something to be aware of. If you're getting something completely custom made, it might not be perfect right out of the gate. My nitpicks, I've had these for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. The straps, kind of cheap. you know, they kind of stretch out quickly. Again, these are old. They might be better now. They very well could be, but these just stretch out a lot quicker, a lot faster than some of the tier elastic straps that I've had in the past, or even some of the Speedo ones. This is a very well built, very well designed, extremely cool goggles. My favorite goggle right now, probably my number one, the one that I still wear the most, are these bad boys. These are the Tier Stealth X goggles. They're just a really good goggle. They're extremely durable. Field of view is great, low profile. I like the straps that it come with. They don't stretch out too much. The nose piece stays in place. You do not have to worry about the nose piece going bad or coming out of place. It's just a good goggle. Now, these are straight up a ripoff of the Speedo brand speed sockets, which are these right here. These are the old Caleb Dressel goggles. When Caleb was sponsored by Speedo, he wore these for forever. I think Ryan Murphy wears these. A lot of athletes wear these goggles. The Speedo speed sockets, these are the speed sockets like 2.0 or whatever. Tier, basically, they just made a better version of them, in my opinion. They're just a little bit better. There's more of an edge on the goggle line right there, opposed to the Speedo speed sockets being a little bit rounder. And that actually allows for a better field of view out on the outside. But yeah, these are my go-to. The downside, if I had to pick one, the downside is you have to break them in. A lot of times when they're new, on the inside right here, that's gonna dig real deep and cause goggle lines around your eyeballs. But after like a week or so, it kind of starts to form to your face, and they're really, really comfortable. But you gotta break them in. But there are some goggles that you just have to break in general. I mean, the Arena Cobras were the same way. I had to break those in, but then my pair lasted like basically 4 years and they were good. I will say that the Hyper Elite goggles, the Speedo Hyper Elite goggles, you don't have to break those in. These are even softer, even cushier. So, you know, that's my top 5. What do you all think? Is there a pair of goggles that I need to try that I'm missing? Is there a big one out there that it's like, holy crap, how does Cody not know about these? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. Is there something new that I should try? How do you feel about the side? So I don't even know what to call this. The rail? There's probably a word for it, but the rail that's on like the Cobra, that's on these tier versions of the Cobra, the whatever they call these things, you know, like what do you guys think? I've always been a person that just likes trying new things, changing it up. That's why I have a handful of different goggles that I just kind of go through and pick through and just see. But you know, some people just like, they've got one that fits, they've got one that they've always used, that they've always worked with, and they just stick to it. Let me know what you thought of my goggle review video. Is there something that I'm missing? Comment down there below, let me know. If you would like to bring me out for a speaking event, a swim clinic, a meet, something, send me an email to CodyMillerShow@gmail.com, and maybe I'll be racing you sometime this year or next year. I'm also scheduling events for next year as well. We have merch, Only Good Days, CodyMillerSwim.com. Check that stuff out. If you'd like a personalized video from me to you or someone you know for whatever reason, I'm available on Cameo. And until the next video, I will see you all later.